Hi everybody, I'm Joseph Bradley and I'm talking about From Dark to Light. It's a little short series. This is the seventh video. Not sure how many it will be. Spirit will guide me to when not to do any more of these specific types of videos. It's kind of about talking about my own experience, talking about kind of the things that made me who I am today. If you're interested, you can always check my website out at www.amonrosawakening.com. I offer services. I'm a healer, a journey healer and teacher and speaker. So I talked a little bit about balance last time. I'm going to go back about 11 years when I first moved to the Yukon. I came across a friend, a First Nation friend, and we went to Peru together for a month. There was four of us that went, and she had taken us to a couple of different places. First was Lima, then we went to Pucallpa and went into the rainforest and stayed with a friend of hers, and a shamanic friend, very nice gentleman. I spent some time there, and I had a vertigo issue that was incurable. I had MRIs done, all kinds of stuff. Incurable, they said. So I went down there, I did a couple of ceremonies, and the first ceremony I went to do, this dizziness hit really hard just before the ceremony. I wasn't even able to stand. He knew right off the bat that there was something wrong. So I ended up the next day, he did a ceremony on me and had no dizziness for about probably 9 years. Completely gone. This is something that I had that I wasn't even able to stand sometimes for 2 days. It was pretty horrific. And it got you sick to your stomach. And it was incurable. When I was there was another gentleman. His father was cured of hepatitis C. And the guy that was there was his son. And he was American. And he was telling me the story about his father and how he himself now has hepatitis C from drug use. So his father sent him here to help cure him as he was cured. He showed me vines that he said with a little bit of work helped cure cancer, fought cancer extremely aggressively is how he described it. Very common. It was one of the most common vines in the rainforest. He had all kinds of medicines that I never even heard of, insects that he mixed with things to help cure diseases. Well, the point is that how does energy work heal? How do we heal ourselves? Is it the belief that we can heal ourselves? Of course it is. If it was that simple, but everybody could just say, I'm healed, I'm healed. Because it takes a belief in the understanding of yourself and brings it to a level. It's like you can say, oh, I believe in God. I go to church every day. I believe in Jesus Christ. I spend my whole life praying to God, sacrificing everything. to be the best person I can be. Does that mean you're going to be able to heal yourself? Does that mean you're going to go to heaven? Does that mean that God will make sure that you have everything you need for eternity? Think about that for a second. Then you have somebody else that says, I believe in God, I go to church every day. But he doesn't listen, and she doesn't listen to anything that is being said. Goes home, beats his kids up, and we could go into all kinds of details, but we're not going to. There's no purpose behind that. Then we have a person in the rainforest that's never heard of God, never even knew who Jesus was, but they do believe in a God. They spend their whole life helping people, but never really met anybody in the outside world. He helped people his whole life. He was an amazing person. Beautiful. He was also a very powerful healer, but the healing part didn't matter. I'm just throwing scenarios out there, because there's people out there in the world that will say, well, who's going to go to heaven? Is it the first man, second man, or third man? How about we'll throw a fourth one in there? A man that is rotten to the core. He beats people up, he kills people, he rapes women, he abuses children, spends his whole life in and out of prison. Is he going to go to heaven? That's 4 people. So people will say, definitely the first man is going to go to heaven. The second man, he might go to heaven if he repents enough, which he might do in the end. The third man, there's people out there that was the best man of all of them, by the way. The most holy of all of them. The most light, the most shining light of all of them. You can even throw a priest in there, a cardinal, minister. But nobody could compare to this man in the rainforest. There'd be people out there saying he'll never go to heaven because he doesn't believe in Jesus. What would Jesus say if a man has never even known his name, but is the lightest of all of them? What would Jesus say? You think Jesus is going to say to that man, you're not going to come into the gates of heaven because you don't even know who I am? No, he's not. He would never do that. He would open his arms and embrace him and graciously allow him into heaven. And so would God. The question is, any of you out there that say that he would not go to heaven need to look into the mirror and ask yourself why. Why do you believe that? Do you believe your God will contemn a holy man, holier than all of them? He could even be the Son of God and we wouldn't even know it. He might not even know it. Did you ever think that Jesus was here many times, spent many lifetimes here, never knowing who he was? Because it wasn't the right time to reveal himself to the world. And throwing these scenarios out there to get you to think outside the box, to think about situations. Alien beings, do they exist? Obviously, they have to. If you have trillions and trillions of stars, trillions of galaxies, it's just impossible to think otherwise. That is my opinion. But I think it's a pretty educated guess that we are not alone. So what if they don't believe in Jesus? What happens if they don't even know he existed? There's people out there that condemn what I say because it doesn't come from Jesus, it doesn't come from God. But we are all part of God. So how can you say that that is not true? Because I don't go to church every day. But I believe in God more than most people would ever understand. But I also believe in myself. At times I don't. At times I struggle with that. But most times I do believe in myself. And I believe that the world has the capability of changing everything. But there's so many that are unwilling to stand up, unwilling to speak. So the world stays in a state of chaos. People believe that they can do whatever they want, and there's never any repercussions for it. See, it goes both sides. There's a spiritual side and there's a religious side. We can point holes in religion very easily, but we can also point holes in the spiritual very easily. And the scientific minds, they just don't believe in any of that. But there's holes in everything, because everything is incomplete. A spiritual person can just be as lost as a religious person, and vice versa. I could be lost. I could be talking about my own beliefs, my own understanding. May be completely wrong. But it may be right as well. I'm here to teach you to think for yourself. When you follow somebody or someone, pay very close attention who you are following. Don't just follow them blindly. Follow them because you love them, you respect them, but you also love and respect who they are, the actions they do. Actions are huge. We can speak all we want, but until you stand up and do it, it never becomes reality. So if we pray for God for help, and we never help ourselves, how is anything ever going to change? So if I can do whatever I want in this world and walk, some people believe that if I do whatever I want in this world, rape, pillage, murder, I go to heaven without any problems, all will be forgiven, and I can walk away scot-free. Then why does the world continue to stay in chaos? Why? Why do you think it stays in chaos? Because my belief, and this is my belief, that when we do something horrific to someone else, to ourselves, we create a fracture in our soul, spirit. There's always a part of us that goes back to heaven, but there's also a part of us that stays here on earth. And until we take that part of ourselves and bring it back into balance, the earth will always stay in darkness. And the more darkness it has, the more dark the world will become. So what are you going to do? Are you going to blindly follow the sheep to slaughter? Are you going to think for yourself? We need more free thinkers in the world. We need people to think. But there's also thinking too much, isn't there? That's again where balance comes into play. And if I take a gun and blow my brains out, I can guarantee you, in my own beliefs, there's a part of your soul that's not going to leave this place. In the next lifetime, and maybe 10 others, it's going to take the time for you to come back and bring that part back into balance. Now, if you're a perfectly balanced person and you shoot yourself in the head, you might walk away with almost a very, very small fragment fall off. But how many of us have the capability of being that balanced in life? See, the only way the world is going to grow is for all of us to take back our fragments that have been on this world for thousands, if not millions of years. We've been putting into the ground and forgetting about them. In the work I do, people sometimes don't understand what I do. Soul retrieval is one of the things I do. I'm not saying this just to get business. It's not about that. It's about what I see. I go in some really old, dark places that people have forgotten about. When I heal the earth, I take these mass fragments and I heal them. When I go into an individual, I heal many fragments. I see horrible things, but none of them can really hurt me unless I allow them to. But I tell you, every time you heal that part of yourself, you bring yourself into balance and you raise the vibration of who you are and everyone around you, Mother Earth herself. The only true way we're ever going to heal this world is to heal the parts of ourselves that are crying out to you to wake up and finally realize fear is an illusion. The darkness inside myself is not something to fear. It is something to take control over. Bring it into balance and you become stronger. And you'll understand love. You'll understand light on a completely different level. There's so many people out there that say, oh my God, you can't do that, you're going to go to hell, the devil's going to take over your mind and body. That type of thinking is why the world hasn't changed, why the world continues to stay in chaos. We need to stand up. We need to love every part of who we are, heal every part of who we are, and the world will grow and prosper and become something extremely beautiful. Thank you very much. And I'm Joseph Bradley. You can go to my website if you wish. It's www.josephbradleyroars.com. or www.amonrossawakening.com. Have a great day, everyone, and be at peace with yourself.